Hey guys, I'm here with you and I've started to refurb the Game Boy Pocket. What I'm going to do is I'm going to replace the screen lens and paint it, and that's basically it, just to make it look a little nicer. Works really good. I did notice also that in the contacts here, there's some major, I don't know if you can see that, but there's some major corrosion on this top slot. So I'm going to just hit those with some steel wool. But I also wanted to show you a couple of things here. I haven't taken the screen off, but the first thing I've done is I took some painter's tape and you just strip it across and then you follow it with an X-Acto knife. And I'm going to replace the screen lens, but I'm going to use the old one first before it's done being painted. The second thing I did was there were some stickers on the back, and I went ahead and pulled those off. I'm just going to keep them here so I can apply them back. But there was some goop, and we're all familiar with goop. Alright, I'm going to show you one of my tricks for removing said goop. So my trusty tool for that is a vinyl eraser. What I do is, what the eraser does is it actually bonds to the old glue. So I'll show you here, and if you rub it back and forth like this, you'll see that it bonds and it starts to peel it off really good. So there's a good chunk peeled off there. So all you do is just rub the eraser. It does take a few minutes, but if you rub it vigorously, you'll see that the goop is actually peeling off. And I found a lot of people use Goo Gone, but I have found this to be the most effective method. Now, it's kind of hard to do it on a game case because game cases are loose, but I cleaned another one of my cartridges with this method, and it was my Zelda Super Nintendo cartridge, and it had some pretty thick stickers on it, and the goop is almost gone there, as you can see, because everything else gets kind of smudgy and everything like that. When you're going to paint something, you want to have a really good paint job. I mean, if you're going to take the time, you don't want to have little mistakes. And I'm painting this purple. I'm going to prime it, but I'm painting this purple, and I'm going to probably do a couple coats to make it nice and thick and glossy and just look really good. And there you go. All the goop is gone. So that is the most effective way, in my opinion, to replace goop. And I've got the painter's tape on. I have figured out a solution for the buttons on the front. As you can see, the Nintendo logo is embossed on the inside of the plastic, so it's raised, and so is the on and off switch up here, and also the headphone jack and everything. So all I need to do is maintain these buttons, and I figured out a way to do it, and I'll show you once I get it painted, but I'm pretty excited about it. So that's basically what you do. Step 2 is to take these 6 screws out. The 2 screws are hidden in here, and to do that you use a tri-wing screwdriver, and they just come out like this. It's pretty easy. Just unscrew them. And there's only a total of 9 screws that you have to remove. These 6 and then 3 on the motherboard, and the 3 on the motherboard are Phillips, so it's pretty hard to get them messed up. On the board in here, I've already looked at it. I opened it up before I decided to paint it, just to see if I would be able to get the speaker and all the electronics separated enough to paint it. But on the board in here, there's a bunch of contact points that look like screws that are open. I'm not really sure what they're for, but the ones that the screws belong in, there's actually a green ring around, so you always know where to put them back. So it's pretty simple. So I'll go ahead and I'm going to get this separated, get the buttons taken out, get the faceplate off, and get that painted, and then I'll show you. Alright guys, so I went ahead and I opened up the Game Boy here, and this is the back side. This is a grounding plate, a shield plate, I'm not sure what it's called, but there's 4 little screws on there. I'm going to pop those off, and then this will be ready to be painted. The only other thing I have to do is slide this little connector out because you don't want to get paint on this. And it looks like that's going to be a little more difficult to see with it. So I think I'm just going to put some painter's tape over it and just the battery portions. Then I'll paint that up. And then this here is what the inside of the Game Boy Pocket looks like. So here you have your 72 pin connector. I don't think it's actually 72 pins, oh maybe it is. And your volume switch, and your exit out, your contrast, your speaker. And then this port here where the battery is, you can see now the corrosion on it, on this side. I have to go ahead and scrub that off. And then all you do is there's a switch, and there's 3 little screws. As I said, they're outlined with a green circle. You can tell there. And then there's open ports. There's one open port there. And you just take those off with your Phillips. I'll show you this here. So you take out the screws, and there you can see the green circles where they would be placed back. There's 1, 2, and 3. And your board will just come off. Now it is attached to the screen. And this is where it gets a little more complicated. You can take this out, but the best thing to do just for painting is to seal this in plastic and tape it off. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to disconnect the board here because the connector is really small. So I'm not going to disconnect that from the screen because I don't want to have any problems. The other thing you do want to do is I'm just going to take the buttons out here. So we've got the buttons removed. And I'm going to take the switch out at the top. And then I'm just going to rest that back in there. So now you can see the front has no buttons, and I'm going to have to bag and mask the board so that I can get this spray painted. Alright, I'll do that and I'll be back with you. Okay, so we're ready for paint here. I've got all the buttons and pieces in a baggie. And I'm going to go ahead and put a star design on the front for the buttons. And I've got everything taped up, and I've got the board secured in a plastic bag. So it should be fine. And we're going to spray it, and I'll let you know how it turns out. Okay, so the Game Boy is painted and dried, and I put it back together here, and I'm going to go ahead and show it to you. So first the back. It's all shiny and new now. Actually looks pretty cool. And then, so there's the back, and it's all shiny and purple. I'll put it back together. And then here is the front. Now as you can see, some of the lens got some paint on it. And with painter's tape, unfortunately that's going to happen. And I had some trouble getting this star up. And this got a little scratch, but I'm okay with that. I think it looks pretty cool. And so now I'm going to show you how to replace the lens that had the big scratch in it. So all you do is you basically just take an X-Acto knife. And you peel this off. And it's simple, it should come right off. There's that big giant scratch. Oh, that was driving me crazy. Alright, so then you take your new lens and you're just going to peel off the back screen protector that you peel off. Or you can leave it on if you want. There you go. Brand new Game Boy paint job and Game Boy lens. no scratches. Alright, so there is the Purple Star Game Boy, and we'll go ahead and put Super Mario Land in it. So we'll turn it on. And as you can see, it is working. Alright guys, well thanks for watching my refurb of the Game Boy Pocket that I found at a garage sale. Painted it up and replaced the screen, and it's now in pretty good condition. I really like it. It's all shiny, and I'm pretty happy with it. And thanks for watching, and stay tuned for a new video.